All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe, especially if you're interested in closed loop boost control, because that's what this video is going to be about. Everything I want to say and do will not be available in the first video because it's going to end up being too long. Or if you just like cool car stuff, another good reason to subscribe. If you've been following the channel and following my build on my 91 Fox body Mustang that I call the Phoenix, it's a 91 Fox body, twin turbo, 331 stroker, blah, blah, blah. It's been going great so far. As you can tell, I'm not in the garage. I live in Vegas. It's now summertime. It's about 110 degrees outside. So really happy to be in here filming the beginning of this video. Although for the rest of the video, I will have to go out there and actually get my hands dirty and inevitably really sweaty. So I'm going to try to do this video in the mornings, since I am a morning person, as I've mentioned in my other videos. I'll probably start working on this thing 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning and do it over the course of a few days. But this video, as far as the install and the review of what I just got in the mail, will all be in one video. So let me show you what I got. I don't have it all, but at least we can get started on this video. So here we go. This is a beta version of a new boost controller by Twisted Builds. They already have their, what do they call it, Spoolie Boy open loop boost controller. It's already out on the market. You can buy it right now. Yeah, here's their website. You can take a look. I can't remember the price off the top of my head. But what I have is the closed loop version, which you can actually run it in open loop. But why would you buy this if you are going to run open loop when they make an open loop version? So this is the first time pulling off the protector from shipping. It's a touchscreen. So this is the controller, the touchscreen, everything you need to know is right here. Super impressed with the detail of the instructions. I me's it's not really focusing, but there's at least a dozen pages here. And every one of them, there's pictures. I love that. I'm a visual person. It's got a lot of really nice features. I can basically do boost by time. It's got an option to tie your bump box in here. You can tie in fuel pressure as well as your air fuel ratio. So you can basically have it cut boost off if your air fuel ratio or fuel pressure goes out of whack. That's pretty sweet. It can control 2 solenoids. For those of you who are overwhelmed by this piece of paper that has all the wiring on it, the longer you look at it, the less complicated it gets, because that was my first thought. When I looked at this, I'm like, oh my God. But anyways, as far as what actually showed up in the mail, the controller with all of this wiring and a GM 3-bar map sensor with this little pigtail, so that'll make that install real super easy. And that was basically what I got from Twisted Builds. I ordered from another company I ordered one thinking I already had one of these laying around, just a 3-port Mac solenoid. I realized after I ordered it, I had none basically. I only had the one that was coming in the mail, which came today. So I had to order another one. But to do closed loop, I need 2 of these. They're only like $18 a piece, so it's not you're not exactly breaking the bank. And then I need a dome pressure sensor. So this is going to tell the controller how much pressure, how much CO2 we're actually feeding the top of the wastegate. And this is the website it came from. Let's see if I can open it with one hand. It's nice because it comes with the clip and some terminals, so I can go ahead and just crimp those on. Pray to God I have the right tool still. I know when I was at work I had access to that, but I don't think I have that here at home. But anyway, so this was $35, real nice inexpensive one. This is actually the one that David, who is the owner of this company, recommend. This is what he told me to go with, so that's what I got, $35. No big deal there. And then this came from Amazon. I think this was about 14 bucks. Came with a whole bunch of fittings for the push to lock or push to secure, whatever they call it, hosing. Basically 1/4-inch air brake line. which is on order. I don't have that yet, but at least I got all these fittings for a relatively good price. And then I have a couple other random fittings. I think I spent $10 at Lowe's for some brass fittings. And then I have I think some T fittings that are basically the same style, except there's no threads on any of them. But anyways, the remaining parts are on order, and then of course the source of air, that's on order as well. If you already have a lot of these parts, it makes it real easy to get it all set up. If you can just go and grab stuff out of the garage. But I didn't have any of it, so I had to run out and grab it. So I'm super excited. It'll give me max boost, which is something that without my data logger, I don't normally have. I don't actually have a boost gauge at all in my car, so I'm looking forward to actually being able to look down and see boost pressure, like your fuel pressure, wideband, which I'm not going to use those features. Not at this time at least, but we'll see how it goes. I like that it's got a scramble boost feature, the bump setting, which like I said, I'm not gonna worry about. Boost cut, again, I'm not gonna use that because my engine management system will take care of that. But 6 different stages as far as how you ramp the boost in. You can determine how quickly it comes in, whatever jumps you want. I'm super excited about that. Before I had 14-pound springs in my gates, so basically 14 was the minimum I could ever run, and then maximum would basically double that. Although I don't really need to run any more than double that, that'll be fine. I don't see myself using more than 25 pounds at any point in time. One of the things I like is that I can run basically boost pressure all the way down to whatever I have in the wastegate, and then all the way up to essentially whatever I want, because the CO2 acts as a variable wastegate spring that can be adjusted on, in the car as I'm driving, or based off of time. So I like the fact that I can essentially get on my trans brake, which would activate stage 1. As soon as you let go of the trans brake, it'll start cycling through the stages. You don't have to use all 6. That's pretty sweet. I basically took the wastegates out, put 2.7 pound springs in my gates, and then the CO2 would take care of the rest. So I'm excited to basically only run about 6-7 pounds on the street, cruising around, just having fun. But then when I get to the track, I can just ramp it up like crazy. Because in a car that weighs well under 3,000 pounds on the street, just cruising around, you don't really need a ton of boost. The thing is light and makes plenty of power. So that's another benefit. I don't have to run, like the old setup, minimum 14 PSI of boost pressure, which, like I said, in a car like this, totally unnecessary if you're just having a little bit of fun on the street, especially on a drag radial. So that's pretty much all I have to say. If you're bad at wiring, like I usually am, I had to make myself a note here. This is the 12-volt output, because based off the instructions, I thought this, this actually should be a 5. Wow. Let's fix that now before I make this mistake later on down the road. So this is 5 volts. I had to ask the owner. That's an output. And then this is the input from the sensors, which I wish that word was input, but the fact that it's over here probably means it's outputting from here into the controller. Like I said, I'm not an electrical person, so I'm just making myself a little note here to make the install easier. So anyways, it seems like a system that's almost too good to be true, because it does log. You can look into that. We'll play with that later in another video. But right now, I'm going to attempt to install what I can. Obviously, you just saw all the parts I have. I'm limited on what I can do. So I'll get started, and then when more parts come in, I'll keep filming. Okay, very short, small amount of progress here. I don't have most of the stuff I need to do the hookup, so I'm just laying stuff out. For the 8-wire or 8-wire pack, whatever you call it, there's 2 different wires coming out of the controller. One's got 8, one's got 10. So out of the 8, I'm not going to use very many of them. I'm actually only going to use the yellow, the red, and the black, and the green. I'm not using this. I should have crossed that out like I did with the other 2. But this is going to be dome pressure. This is the 3-bar map. and then you just have positive and ground for those things. So it's not actually attached in any way, shape, or form, but here is the 3-bar map. It's probably just going to sit right there, so I can get access to some manifold pressure right there, nice and easy. So that's no big deal. A couple of wires will be run from this location along the firewall, down this way, and down there where my wastegate will actually be seated, which will have the dome pressure sensor sitting on it. And then as far as where I'm going to mount it, took a couple of tries. It's not actually mounted right now, but I think I'm going to make a custom mount and have it sit something like this, so it's out of the way. I can still put my hand on it to make adjustments, and I can still look down and see it at any time, and that way I don't have to install a couple of the control buttons. The stage up and stage down button, I can just touch the screen and do the exact same thing from there, so that'll save me a little bit of wiring and headache and stuff like that. Wiring is, this is the harness, or the 2 harnesses running this way along my water lines. They'll go up into this mess up here. I will eventually tie it into my main power switch, but like I said, I don't have all the wiring stuff I need, so it's just gonna have to wait, and I don't feel like pulling out my welder right now, so I'm not gonna mount this just yet. So for now it's just gonna sit there. And then this is the reason I'm not using the bump feature on this particular device, because I already have a bump box that I made. So that's sitting there all good, pretty, whatever. Not pretty, but it's functioning. So that's where I'm at for now. Later today I'm going to go grab some stuff from the auto parts store, some wiring stuff, and then I can start making some progress. Okay, a little update on the progress I've been making over the last day or so. This is still not mounted, unfortunately. It's just dangling there, but it's completely wired up. Every single one of those wire connections is soldered and then heat shrunk. I'll put some electrical tape around it to hide all these the gray wires you see running along here. They're real tiny little wires, but this thing the whole thing runs on a 5-amp fuse, which means it uses less than that, because if it used over that, we know that fuse would pop. So it's using almost no electricity. So those itty bitty little wires are perfect. I have, when it's 100% wired, that's when I'll put split loom over it to make it look nice. But until then, I'm just gonna leave it alone. The wires come over here. The solenoids are gonna sit in the location where the single used to sit, or still is sitting. That wire terminates here because the leads on the one solenoid I do have are super long, so I know I can bridge the gap from here to there. And then this longer one goes down into this mess to get the camera down in there. The dome pressure sensor down there, that'll have to get hooked up. I don't have any of my 1/4-inch air brake line to start plumbing it, so that's gonna have to wait. I've already turned this on. I know the back of my dash is an absolute mess, but when we flip on power, there we go. Boost in PSI, obviously 0, because, well, the sensor is not 100% reading. I mean, small voltage changes. Anyways, so basically 0 PSI and boost is what the car is making right now, because the engine's obviously off. The gate PSI is 0, which again, there's no airline hooked up to it. There's no compressed air. So of course it's gonna read 0. I'd originally gotten a couple wires backwards on it, so it was reading 108 PSI, and I'm like, that's not right, something's wrong. So I can actually, this is not where it's gonna sit. So before anyone looks at it and goes, is it just laying there? No, it's not just gonna sit here. I'll make them out. I go into setup. I got CO2 mode, boost by, it's hard to do, boost by time. I don't have a CO2 PSI pressure sensor, so that's never going to be accurate. If you don't touch anything for a couple seconds, it defaults to this. Got a reset button for going back down, stage, go into my stages. The blue stuff is for open loop, so I don't look at any of that. each stage right now is set up to be 1 millisecond. I mean 1,000 milliseconds, so 1 second, which that's changeable. Target for this first stage is 5 psi dome pressure. Oops, man, that's okay. That's the one negative thing I'll say about it, is that it goes back to the home screen way too quick for me. I don't even have a chance to think, and it's already gone. This is stage 2, which by that black dot means it turned off, but 10 psi. Here's stage 3. Again, I turned off all the stages except stage 1 for the time being. But this tells you in how many seconds each that stage is going to sit. So, yeah, you can tell real quick that's going to be, if you touch the screen gently, it's really sensitive. I mean, there's nothing to look at, but that's the data log. Basically, it'll record one little run, and you can take a look at what it did for boost pressure. I already set up the map, fuel pressure, whatever. These are off because I don't have any sensors for that. Again, I'll go back so quick. I don't have, wait, is that what we just clicked on? I'm still playing with it, so this is new to me. This is the other setup here. Oops. Setup next. Like I said, I'm gonna have to change boost cut much higher because I don't plan on using it. Same with fuel pressure, which isn't even hooked up. I'm gonna have to read up on exactly what those numbers are supposed to be so that they're disabled. But anyways, that's where I'm at right now. I'm waiting on parts, so I'll play with it. I'll look at the instructions while I'm waiting for the parts, but it's probably going to be another week before everything shows up. But turn off the main power of the car, and it just goes right off. All right, another day, a little bit of progress. I made this crappy little mount. It doesn't have to hold really any weight because that box weighs virtually nothing. It's all wired up. Well, I use the word all very loosely. I do have the trans brake, so I have it set for, I only have 2 stages turned on. So when I hit my trans brake, it says I'm staged. I let go, I'm on launch, and then you can see the stage cycle from stage 1 to stage 2 with the preset amount of time. We'll do it again. Staged, launched, and then second stage. So that's done. The Velcro holding this on, because I wanted to be able to remove it to easily play around with it. The Velcro I found in my garage is garbage. It doesn't hold very well, so I'm gonna have to replace it. As you saw, those numbers were reading accurately. This is finally mounted. The wires are still ugly because I haven't wrapped them up yet. At least that's functioning. And then down here, that sensor's hooked up. It's kind of in focus. So that's all wired up. I'm still waiting on a few things. I'm frustrated because I ordered this solenoid. It came in 4 days. So I ordered a second one from the same company, and now it's going to take 2 weeks. Not sure what happened there, but that's really putting me behind. But as far as everything else, these arrived. Now I'm just waiting for a couple more random parts. But as I make progress, I'll continue filming little clips, and by the time I'm done, it'll be one long video. All right, a little more progress made today. I'm pretty much at the end of what I can do until I get more parts next week. But I didn't want to run CO2 just because I don't like going places to constantly fill bottles and things. So I got this cheapy little eBay air compressor and tank. It says it holds 6 liters, but that tank sure looks small for a 6-liter tank. I mean, it is what it is. I don't need 6 liters anyways. I was kind of hoping it'd be smaller. It looks more like 3. But anyways, it's securely mounted. It's not going anywhere. It's all wired up. My first thought was I want it outside the car so I don't have to hear it or worry about it. That wasn't super practical. If I had a notch back, I probably would have put it somewhere in the trunk, but I have a hatch, so it would still be in the car with me. So this was really the best place to put it. It's not really that loud. I can show you how I have it wired. It's this switch right here. I have not yet labeled it clearly. We'll go ahead and turn that on real quick. It does have an automatic switch that runs till 125 psi, I think, and then shuts it off, and then if it drops below 90, it'll turn back on, which is way more air pressure than I'm going to need because I haven't mounted it yet, but I have a regulator that'll probably sit on top of the trans tunnel there, so I can easily see the gauge, but that'll probably get regulated down to 60, and then that'll run to the solenoids. I'm not worried about the noise because even if it's at 90 psi, that's more than enough air pressure to run it. Like I said, I'm going to regulate it down to 60. And so basically when I get to the track, I'll turn the compressor on. If it doesn't turn on, I'll flip the switch. If the compressor doesn't actually kick on because it's got enough pressure in it, I'll turn the switch back off and I don't have to worry about it running. And then same thing, if I haven't run the compressor in a while, or I think the air pressure is low and I'm going out for just a daily drive and I might think that somebody might want to have a little fun, red light to red light type of situation, I can easily flip on the compressor before I even leave the garage, let the tank fill up, shut it off, and then never need to fill it back up during the rest of that drive. So I'm not worried about the noise because it's never going to be on while I'm in the car. So at this point, still waiting on the solenoid. That's not going to come till next week. Everything else is here. Well, the solenoid and the lines. I mean, I got a couple. Here's a fitting that I kind of just stuck in there. That's pretty much it. I have all the compression fittings I need to get this job done, or push to lock fittings, whatever you want to call them. It's not pretty, but it works. So at this point, I'm going to stop making these little clips until I get more parts, and then I'll just lump them all together into a video. Hopefully be able to post it next week and have the car back on the ground. I have been slightly hindered during this project fixing other things. As you can see, I had a transmission leak. All of a sudden, the transmission started puking fluid out of nowhere. Car hasn't run in over a month, and all of a sudden it decides to dump fluid. It turned out to be 3 separate leaks. One of them required a small hole to be cut here. I know it's dark, you can't see anything. But basically where the wires for the trans brake run through the side of the transmission, it started leaking there. The pan was leaking. And then where the shifter goes, the shifter handle, or whatever you want to call it, passes through the side of the transmission, it was leaking too. So took care of that. You can see it's still got a real small minor little leak. That is from the shifter linkage where that goes through. It's so minor, I'm not going to do anything with it right now because I don't want to open the transmission up. It's not enough to cause me any problems in the immediate future, so it is what it is for now. Maybe the next time I change out the trans filter, that's when I'll take care of that. But anyways, for this week, this is the end of my progress on this project. Next week I'll finish it up. All right, so the install now is 100% complete. It took way longer than I thought it would, simply because of a nightmare situation I had with the company that was supposed to send me the air brake line. I should have just ordered it off Amazon to begin with, but it took them over 2 weeks to actually put the package in the mail, and then by the time I told them to cancel, I would just order from somebody else. That morning they go, oh, we shipped it this morning. So I never, I basically had to wait for them to ship it out. So the beginning of this video was actually filmed like over 2 weeks ago. But anyways, I can find something, probably a fancier way of setting these up, but for now, a couple zip ties to the frame is what it is. This is the air line that feeds from the, it goes through the firewall, comes from the tank. This is the line that feeds pressure to the wastegates, which are one's down there, one's over there. I'll probably add one more zip tie to this line right here. I mean, it's not going to touch anything even if I don't zip tie it, but I'd feel more comfortable. But anyways, it's ready to run as it is. I turned on the air compressor for the first time with the lines connected, and it looks like we're holding. I have it set to 60 psi since that should be enough to run all the boosts that I plan to run. If not, I can easily turn the knob on the regulator and crank it up. Only took maybe 30-40 seconds to get to that air pressure. from a completely empty tank, so we're doing pretty good there. Can turn the system on. Nothing weird happening, although I assume to get like a gate actual PSI, since I do have stage 1 set for I think 3 PSI right now and it's reading 0. I assume it's because I have to start the car. This won't do anything until the map sensor recognizes something's going on, but it's 6 in the morning, so I'm not going to start it. I'm sure my neighbors would appreciate that I don't start the car right now. So everything seems to be up and running. I'm happy with the way it came out. Sort of seamlessly added it to the engine bay. Like I said, because this was filmed over the course of like 2.5 weeks, I don't remember what I've already said, but if I haven't already shown you, wire loom was placed over the map sensor wiring. Map sensor's actually bolted in place now, so it's not just dangling there. Everything's ready to go. Super easy install. Couple more wires would have had to been connected if I wanted to actually install the basically, the thing can cut boost if you have a bad air fuel ratio or the wrong fuel pressure. I opted not to run that stuff, but it is an option in case you decide to do it. So I'm gonna end the video here. We'll get to the next video for actual testing purposes. Weather in Vegas has been crazy, so that's gonna be the deciding factor on when I can actually take the car out. But happy so far, and I know this video is getting really long, so hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you for the next one when we actually take the car out.